We're starting with what's happening in Pakistan. Imran Khan, a national icon as a cricketer, is now just days away from taking over as Prime Minister of the country. It's for the first time that the dominance of the Bhutto Zardaris and the Sharifs is being broken in that country. Imran Khan is an outsider, now set to take the highest political office. He came with the promise of doing things differently. He whipped a populist line. He talked about austerity and fighting corruption, and he wants to show that he's walking the talk from the word go. His party says the new Prime Minister swearing-in ceremony will be a simple affair. They may be making a virtue out of a necessity. In a statement to the media today, the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf, that's Imran Khan's party, the PTI, said that Mr. Khan has decided against inviting foreign dignitaries and celebrities. This also betrays their lack of experience. The PTI has not been able to give a clear picture on what their guest list will look like. Who will be invited, who will not be invited, and why? Earlier, Mr. Khan's party said that they plan to invite friends from outside Pakistan. An even earlier list apparently had Prime Minister Narendra Modi's name on it. Yesterday, the PTI had said that they've sought the advice of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs on whether they can invite leaders like the Indian Prime Minister. Now it seems they've decided against it. So who was invited? The PTI earlier claimed that they have invited Bollywood superstar Amir Khan and former cricketers Kapil Dev, Sunil Gavaskar and Navjot Singh Sidhu from India. They go back a long way. The duel between Sunil Gavaskar and Imran Khan from their cricketing days is well known. On one occasion, Gavaskar had even described Khan as his younger brother. Kapil Dev and Imran Khan were considered arch rivals during their playing days. They were among the few world-class all-rounders at the time. But outside the cricketing field, they have been good friends. Amir Khan also has an old association with the Prime Minister-designate of Pakistan. He attended fundraising ceremonies held in Pakistan and elsewhere for Imran Khan's Shaukat Khanum Cancer Hospital. So it seems that none of the good friends, the old friends of Imran Khan from India, will be invited after all for the ceremony, according to the latest reports from the PTI, until we hear of another U-turn. This is how things stand. But the Punjab Cabinet Minister, Navjot Singh Sidhu, definitely wants to go, and he may have spoken too soon. He issued an acceptance even before he got a formal invite. In fact, he held a one-hour-long press conference today where he praised Imran Khan as a man of character. Listen in.
It is a great honor. And it is a wonderful gesture. So I see infinite possibilities. Infinite possibilities. With Khan Sahab. देखिए दो चीजें हैं. एक वो है पॉलिसी है जो सरकार की है, देश की है. मैं उसका हमेशा सम्मान करता रहा हूं और हमेशा उसके आगे झुकता भी रहूंगा. लेकिन मेरा एक पर्सनल ओपिनियन है साहब कि स्पोर्ट्समैन ब्रेक बैरियर्स. They cut across frontiers. They unite people. I go there as a goodwill person. I go there with bonhomie. I go there as a sportsman, as a politician. I go there with positivity. You'll have to take permissions. If I'm allowed, I will definitely go, sir. I will definitely go. And I consider it as, a huge honor, one. Number two, I also consider it of being an instrument of God's goodwill.
For all his stardom, Imran Khan isn't exactly being showered with praise on social media now. We're talking about Imran Khan, the politician. All those people who just spoke were talking about the cricketer they'd seen. He's made quite a buzz, yes, but he's getting as many brickbats as bouquets, if not more. The internet has exploded with jokes and memes about Mr. Khan, and we've compiled a few for you.
From man of the match to the man in charge. Imran Khan's 22-year-long political journey is what the world is talking about. And how could Twitter be left behind? Right from the day of the election to the run-up to him taking office, the microblogging site has been buzzing with jokes and memes around Imran Khan. While some mocked the Prime Minister-designate, others used it as a tool to highlight the army's role in these polls. Twitter and Facebook were replete with such pictures that very quickly circulated, even on WhatsApp. But it wasn't just these memes that made Imran Khan a trending subject on social media. Another hot topic on microblogging sites was how handsome the new Pakistan Prime Minister is. People of Pakistan swooned over their Prime Minister. In his glory days, the sports hero was a heartthrob of millions across the globe and has had a big fan following ever since. Drawing comparisons to the Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, users claimed there is a new handsome Prime Minister on the block. Trudeau is no ordinary PM. Since his election, the world has been besotted with his charming looks. But now Imran Khan's fans are hoping he dethrones Trudeau to become the most handsome Prime Minister in the world. Bureau Report, WION.
We do hope she's well, because the Chinese state is not known to take prisoners. They act without mercy, even if it's their own army at the receiving end. In fact, Xi Jinping has cracked the whip on the army yet again. China's Politburo, which is the principal policy-making committee of a communist party, has ordered the PLA, the People's Liberation Army, to stop running its kindergartens and other commercial businesses. Yes, the Chinese army ran kindergarten schools, living up to the adage, catch them young and watch them grow. Anyway, the Politburo has now told the armed forces to cease all commercial activities by the end of the year. The military in China operates several businesses at the moment, ranging from kindergartens to property rental services and everything in between. The order to shut them down is being seen as another attempt to curb corruption in the military. In fact, President Xi Jinping has undertaken the biggest military overhaul in China in 60 years. The latest order comes straight from the president, who also heads the party's Central Military Commission. While issuing this order, President Xi Jinping clearly said that there are no exceptions for anyone, no compromises will be made. The Chinese army went into business in the late 1970s. Reports say that these dealings and profit-oriented businesses led to widespread corruption. Demands to close down the PLA's business activities date back to 1998. Xi Jinping promised to end them 3 years ago. By the end of July this year, that's yesterday, he'd managed to shut down around 100,000, that's 1 lakh of the businesses belonging to the Chinese military. The country's newswire, Xinhua, says that 6,000 quote-unquote sensitive and complicated businesses remain operational in China. We do not know what will become of them. This exercise is part of Xi Jinping's larger initiative to purge the army. He undertook it almost as soon as he took office. And over the last few years, the Chinese president has jailed top generals. He's broken chains of command to introduce a more centralized power structure. Here's a report decoding Xi Jinping's plans for the PLA.
This was an unprecedented move by the Chinese president. Referring to the troops as comrades, Xi Jinping tells them he appreciates their hard work. The troops reply in unison with their motto, "Serve the people," a way for them to echo their loyalty to the Communist Party. This is Xi Jinping's way of sending a message across to the troops. He wants to show them who the boss is. Behind the scenes, Xi has created a centralized system to keep a tight watch over the military. This has been accompanied by a massive purge. According to a report in the Financial Times back in February, more than 13,000 senior officers have been investigated. Hundreds more from the lower ranks have been either sacked or imprisoned. Since 2012, 16 first and second-class generals have been prosecuted for corruption. Many say this purge is political in nature. Xi Jinping's critics claim that he used the issue of corruption to drive out dissenters from the PLA. The purge goes much beyond the army. It's touched every corner of the Chinese government. It also goes a long way in helping Xi Jinping introduce modernization plans. The Chinese president wants a more nimble military powered by the latest technology that makes the defense forces more compact and responsive. Xi wants a world-class defense force, and he's not hiding his ambitions from anyone.
我们要深入贯彻党的强军思想，坚定不移走中国特色强军之路，努力实现党在新形势下的 强军目标，把我们这支英雄的人民。
The Chinese president's move to reform the military is in sync with his country's global desires. A powerful military will help China assert itself in Asia and beyond. Many argue that a military firmly under the president's grip will embolden Xi Jinping more than the nation. Bureau Report, WION.
Uncertainty is the only certainty in life, but what if that uncertainty is someone else's doing? On Gravitas tonight, let's also examine the case of Assam, where 4 million people, 40 lakh people, are staring at uncertainty, and the menace of red tapeism is being blamed for people's misery. Also political hypocrisy. The National Register of Citizens, the NRC, excluded a retired army officer and a former president's relative, among others. Is it possible that the number could have been much smaller if state governments and other national agencies, many of these people, by the way, are protesting this draft report, this NRC draft, blaming the central government. Many of these have been accused of dereliction of duty themselves. Had they verified the documents of these people in time, the 4 million mark could have been much smaller. According to the National Register of Citizens Office, the NRC office, documents have been sent, or had been sent rather, to 25 states and union territories. These were the governments, states and union territories, which had issued certificates to people belonging to those states. But they were living in Assam due to a job, or some of them got married in that state. The documents included birth certificates, educational qualifications. Only 40% of these documents were verified. The worst defaulter was Manipur. Less than 3% of the documents sent to the state administration were verified. As a result, all those people who were associated with Manipur living in Assam fell in that 40 million list, 4 million list, 40 lakh list. West Bengal returned only 6% of the documents that were sent to them. Remember, the state's Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee kicked a storm over the exclusion of 40 lakh people from the NRC. But her own state is one of the biggest defaulters in the verification process. Had she done her job, had her government done its job, the number would have been much less. And Bihar verified merely 5,000 documents out of nearly 68,000 sent to the state government. As a result, nearly 5 lakh people were excluded from the final draft of Assam's citizen list because other states failed to verify their citizenship claim. The death toll in Zimbabwe's post-poll violence has reportedly risen to 6 after unrest exploded in capital Harare yesterday. Soldiers and police cleared the streets of central Harare today after a deadly crackdown on protesters. Shops remained closed. Pavements were quiet by this morning, with several streets still strewn with rocks and the charred remains of fires. The deployment of soldiers in their shooting and beating of unarmed protesters is a setback to efforts to end Zimbabwe's outcast status in the wake of the army's removal of longtime leader Robert Mugabe. There was a coup in November last year, remember, when Robert Mugabe was unseated from the throne of power. Troops backed by armoured vehicles opened fire on Wednesday to clear the capital streets of demonstrators. They accused President Emmerson Mnangagwa's ruling ZANU-PF party of trying to rig the July 30th presidential election. On the other hand, Zimbabwe President Emmerson Mnangagwa said that he wants an independent investigation into the killings. He said that he seeks to settle differences peacefully. He also reached out to his MDC alliance opponent Nelson Chamisa, the opposition leader, regarding the prevailing tense situation in the country, but did not shy away from blaming him for the violence.
Incidents of wanton violence and hooliganism which broke out this afternoon in the capital come as a complete surprise. We hold the opposition MDC alliance and its whole leadership responsible for this disturbance of national peace, which was meant to disrupt the electoral process. Equally, we hold the party and its leadership responsible for any loss of life, injury, or damage to property that arise from these acts of political violence.
Commonwealth observers have condemned the Zimbabwean army's deadly use of force to break up protests in Harare by opposition supporters, claiming a presidential election had been rigged by the ruling party. Both the opposition and Western election observers have urged that presidential election results be released as soon as possible.
We categorically denounce the excessive use of force against unarmed civilians and wish to urge all parties to exercise. The progress achieved so far could be undermined if all parties and their supporters do not demonstrate tolerance and respect for the rule of law. The electoral process is yet to conclude, and we are at a moment in Zimbabwean history that calls for the greatest maturity and leadership. Zimbabwe Electoral Commission to expedite the announcement of full results. Any further delays creates opportunities for speculation about possible manipulation of the results.
The Election Commission, the ZEC, has declared the President ZANU-PF party as the winner of the parliamentary election with a two-thirds majority. The results are expected early Friday morning. The ZEC claims there has been no rigging of this election. And Sonam Wangchuk spoke exclusively to WION on his journey and the challenges that he faced along the way.
So sure, I was happy to hear about this award, but I truly don't think I deserve it alone. It was so many students, teachers, leaders who have been a part of this journey, and I dedicate it to all of them. It is also a recognition that people in the high mountains in the Himalayas, like Ladakh, have different challenges. They're a kind of minority, not just ethnic and linguistic, but environmental and technological. So our work that has been to gear education and development to the context as being recognized, I feel. Now, you have asked about innovation. The reason why I was pushed, I would say, towards innovation was necessity. Like they say, necessity is the mother of invention. It was not a luxury that I wanted to indulge in. It was just seeing things not working, seeing schools not working for children, technologies not working for people, made me, rather than withdraw or get depressed, act and find a way out. So that would be my motivation, wanting to solve the problems rather than, shy away from them. Whenever anything new is proposed, there's always disbelief and some lack of support in the early stages, but then it's a good test of your mettle. If you persevere, if you stand up, very soon people start to understand. If you don't, then you were never meant to. So it's a good test, I think. Yes, in the beginning, any idea is resisted, ridiculed, and so on. This award will boost our work to make development and particularly education become more meaningful for the high Himalayan mountains. Particularly right now, we are working to make higher education meaningful to the mountains. See, higher education should be about finding solutions to people's problems. Instead, we cage young people in their 20s in classrooms and lecture them to death. Therefore, we are here now venturing into an alternative university which will engage young people in actually going out in the field, finding solutions, whether it is in tourism, education, sustainable architecture, ecology, and so on. So this university will have much less of paper and lectures and much more of hands-on engagement. 2/3 in fact outdoors and 1/3 indoors is what we see. So such efforts are not initially understood, and we believe that this award will give us a sort of a kick start in that direction to take our purpose and the message to the world and have supporters from different parts of the world. As we have been getting, we hope more and more people will understand our work, and hopefully soon it will be replicated. Like we are adapting higher education to the mountains, others would maybe be adapting it to the deserts, to the oceans, to the jungles, and so on. So education needs to be engaged, relevant, contextual, and hands-on. In the country's education system, I feel there is a lot of changes needed. First of all, we seem to address other people's problems. We just copy what is done by New York or London. Their problems are different. They have solved their basic problems of water, of clothing, of sanitation hundreds of years ago. So they are now into, say, in an institute of technology, they'd be playing with drones and robots and apps. We cannot afford to. In India, half the population doesn't even have anything to do with an app or a drone or a robot. They have more the need of clean drinking water, the need of water for their farms, the need of health awareness to keep fit, the need of clean sanitation, toilets. And our young people need to address these issues more than imitate the West. And I really want to believe that our Apex Technology Institute or others should tailor-make their own courses to address to bringing the nation up from these basic problems rather than just copy things that we don't even have as a major problem. To the youth of the nation, I would say, be original in your thoughts. Take your own original decisions as you see fit after studying things. Don't live your life for your neighbors, for your locality, for your friends, even for your parents. They would understand if you passionately like doing something and go for it. Because if you do what you like, chances are you will be the best in the world. If you just do something because your neighbors said, relatives said, or parents said, you will be a poor third or fourth, living a life of misery for the length of your life. Don't forget, it's you who will have to live that life. Your parents may want you to be an engineer, but if you are a painter inside, you might as well choose to live happily the rest of your life doing what you really love. And chances are, as I said, you'll be the best painter in the world. But a painter inside you, made to become an engineer, will be a very poor engineer and perhaps will deprive a true engineer from becoming an engineer because you block their seats or space. So I would say, be original, be yourself, be your own hero.